Okay guys, we're in Dublin. I'm joined by one of Ireland's biggest and of course relatively, you've been acting for a while now, but we all know you through, I suppose, Love, Hate, Cardboard Gangsters, and there's much more. How's things with you so far? You're having a good year, good start to the year.
Yeah, I'm having a good start. Yeah, I've a tour lined up for me, one man show, Ireland's Call, which starts in March 2nd in New York, and then I come back to Ireland, and I think I'm going to be ending up in Paris for the first kind of leg of the tour, and then I'll reconvene with that later on in the year, the end of the year. In between that, then I'm going to be doing a film, biopic of Joe Egan, the toughest white man on the planet.
I met Joe.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
He's a lovely fella.
He's fond of yourself as well. I know he's a big fan.
Yeah. It's mad actually because we met at an event. It was. Do you remember that? It was the Red Corner promotion event. It could have been the prize fighting type one. Yeah. But anyway, I met him there, and he just started talking. He thought I was a journalist. And he said, "You look very familiar." And I said, "All right, well, no." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm an actor." He said, "Okay, right. What's your name?" "John Connors." And he said, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said, "My producer wants you to play me in my biopic." And I was like, "What?" It's fucking bizarre. So I get on the phone to the producer, and he said, "Yeah, we've been looking at him, blah blah blah." And so yeah, now I'm playing him this summer.
And I actually met him. We went to see Mike Tyson a couple of years back in the UK, and Big Joe was there. And he said to me he wanted to make the movie first of all. This is years back, but I know he's going to be thrilled with you playing that role. And like he's like Joe, for example, like he sparred with Tyson in New York and all that kind of stuff. But he had a bad accident, I believe. I think it was a car crash or something that prevented him from going all the way. You know,
yeah, he did.
That's going to be awesome. Is it going to be out this year or
next year? It's
next year.
Yeah. But the shooting this summer, I think they're going to be shooting mostly in Ireland. Yeah, so yeah, it's looking good. So I'm in kind of training mode. I've been training since just January 1st. I said I'll just give myself the new year. And I've lost a little bit over 2 stone just since the 1st of January, just from being on the carnivore diet and training hard. Like when you're fat, you lose weight easily, you know.
No, you're well able. But speaking of boxing, many a man I've spoken to in the past, like coaches and stuff, they've all said you had a glittering career. Like as an amateur, you pretty much represented Ireland 4 or 5 times. What was it like to box for Ireland and of course be such a highly rated amateur?
It was great. Yeah, I think I think I only lost my first fight maybe 6 years into my career, and that was an international fight. Or no, sorry, 6 years into the career, the first Irish fight. I lost one international early on, and then I won 3 in a row, 3 All Irelands in a row, and I won the 4th. I won everything else next year, and then the 4th I got disqualified with 3 seconds left against Stephen Ward, and I was 13 points up going into the last round. And then the 5th I got into the final again, but it was intermediate final. I was only 17, and you've often seen 17-year-olds going into the intermediate to win them, but I was at 91 kg, so I was in with heavy fellas at 17, and to be honest with you, I was way stronger than them. But I was punching myself out. I was going all out, and I remember fighting a fella, Willie Byrne, and he took everything I had. Like usually I was blowing everybody out of it, so I went fighting a 27-year-old man. I was a 17, and he took everything, but I hurt him, but I ended up just blowing out after a round, and then there was just the next 2 rounds I was really slow paced, and I lost by a couple of points. And then I made a comeback a year later because I got injured. Then I was out for 6 months, and I made a comeback in the All Irelands, and I lost about 4 stone in probably 7 or 8 weeks. You know what I mean? And I was just wrecked, and I lost to a fella who, on a good day, I'd stop this fella in the first round. Yeah. So I never got back in the ring really, except for a couple of exhibition fights. Yeah. But I never, so I had a lot of potential. I was asked to go pro. I was a big punching style. I was exciting and all that stuff, and that's what I wanted to do in my life. But I suppose life took me down a different road,
But you missed the boxing. Like, you still kind of itching. Like, is there ever any thoughts of going back doing something small?
Well, there was a rumour going around that I was going pro, and there was, this Joe Egan thing has been happening. Yeah. So, like, I was playing with the idea of kind of going pro to make it a part of this film. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I was kind of playing with, that idea and seeing what happened. But look, you'd never say never. Like, I love an out fight.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Young, like,
yeah, I'm only 29. Like, I can still have that. The ironic thing is, right? Since I've quit boxing, I've been, drinking and smoking. I'm only off smokes 10 or 12 weeks. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of stuff like that, and so that's not good for your body. Yeah. But you could flip the coin around and you could look at it the other way and you go, I haven't took much punishment to the head. Yeah. And that's a different thing. Yeah. It's a different, so So you never know. If I get fit, you never know. I'm the type of fella just going to fight anybody at any time. Like I wouldn't really care. If I was going to fight, I would, like whatever who you have you fight the first fight. But if you're going to have another fight, you'd want to be fighting someone decent, wouldn't you? Like
we have to watch out. Maybe something will come in the future.
You never know. You never know. I still have it in me. I just need to lose the pounds.
Definitely. No, I have to speak about. I was a big fan of Love Hate. What was it like to be part of that? And obviously, finish off the main man in the end.
Yeah, it was. Well, I always tell the joke. Finally, a traveller went out in the end. But I said that one time around a crew of people who I'm not going to name them, but let's just say big gangsters.
Yeah.
And they didn't find it very funny. But yeah, it was great. Like, look, it was a phenomenon. The show was a phenomenon.
Huge.
We'll never have a show like that again. Unfortunately, I don't think so. Anyway, it'll be very hard, especially now because television is fighting really hard now against the online world. So I'd say it's going to go down in history. And going into it, I was already a fan of the show. And then just to be a part of it and see kind of everybody working together on set, the crew, it was the best crew I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And you knew you were doing something that was good. And it's very rare actually you're working on something that you think is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because most of the time you're just taking a paycheck. So when you're working on something that's good, you know what I mean, it feels good. And everybody puts everything into it. Everybody knows this is going to be great. And we're here to fucking give Ireland a great story here, So it was great being involved.
And Tommy's a great actor, like Tom Bollock. He's obviously gone to bigger things as well, but working with him, obviously, you learned a lot as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Tom, I think going into Love Hate, he hadn't done any camera work, or maybe just one film, maybe.
Yeah.
But he was a theatre man. He was well known in the theatre, and as a brilliant theatre actor. And I think if you look at Love Hate, he gets better as they go on, and then season 3 kind of comes together as just this ferocious beast of an actor, sharing scenes with him was actually at times a bit kind of off-putting sometimes because he's so in character, like the way he just he's not Nage off camera, whereas people do that. He's not, but he just switches into Nage when you say action. His posture changes, his voice, everything he does changes, his physicality. And the first time it happened, it kind of threw me and I forgot my line because it was just so weird. Because one minute he was like, Tom, hey, I'm Tom, and really nice. And then he just transforms into Nage, and I was like, oh shit, what's my line again? So that was a great experience. And you get better. It's like a boxing again. If you get in with better boxers and sparring, you get better. And you get in with better actors, you get better, Yeah. So great experience. And he's he's the most, I'd say, disciplined actor I've ever worked with. Yeah. Ever. Like relentlessly disciplined. Never bumps a line. Never forgets it. Never mind forgetting a line. Never bumps a word. Is perfection every single delivery. I've never seen anything like it before or after that. I've never worked with any actor like that.
A true great.
But yeah, absolutely a true great. But in saying that, I've met actors who bump lines all the time and are equally as good as an actor. Yeah. There's different styles in this thing, Yeah. So you know what I mean. But he just comes from that RADA background, the classical training, so they're super disciplined, they're super prepared, and you're never going to be frustrated with that type of actor because they're constantly giving you everything, even when it's your close-up, because sometimes you might get an actor that might not give you their all when it's on your close-up, and that's not a nice thing. It's but he would give you everything, you know what I mean, when it's on you, he'll give you everything. So brilliant working with people like that, and other people on the show as well, like Peter Cunan and other people, there were some great actors on that show, There
was. And we have to speak of Cardboard Gangsters. Like, we all know it. What a film. I'd watch it probably every Christmas. I'd watch it 3-4 times a year. Yeah. What was it like to be part of such a great film? And of course, it relates to so many people in the world today, especially in Ireland. It was a great film. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you know what? I remember back in watching the first season of Love Hate or whatever. I remember it was going to be this sort of gang program about the kind of upper edges of the gang system, and I watched it and I said I want to write something about the street level. So I started writing it in 2012. We didn't make it till 2015, but we had so much preparation for it, and I lost a lot of weight and I got in shape. Me and the lads lived together. Me and the 3 lads of my gang, but there was 4 of us. We lived together for 7 weeks in my house in Darndale where we shot the thing. And it was the most intense shoot I've ever done in my life, without a doubt, because it was, a 96-page script shooting it in 15 days, which is like unheard of. Like, you'd hear Hollywood fellas talking about an independent movie Like ours was less than 400 grand, and they're talking about an independent movie. We just made it for 12 million, and we shot it in 42 days. You know, like as if they want props for that shit.
Yeah.
15 days we done it on 390 grand. So there was no make mistakes. You're barely getting a second or third take sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to be super prepared. But that process of becoming super prepared, me and the lads living together, was a great process. And a mad process, you know, because we'd be doing what the characters doing. We go to, like, I didn't really have to, like, it was a lot of it was me as well. It was a lot of me was in the character anyway. But so we'd be going to the Blacker where the nightclub was in the film, and we'd be partying, and we'd be going back to my house and bringing 50 people, and we'd have a 5-amp speaker, and we were just like that for 7 weeks basically, and shooting in between, and sometimes arriving on set kind of with no sleep, or you know. But it was an interesting way to do a film. I'd never do it that way again, as intense. But it worked for what it was. It had to be just an adrenaline rush shoot, where it was just, that's it, there's no time to think, you're just there all the time, you know. So it was a great experience, and like then to see, we kind of didn't get embraced much in Ireland first in the festival circuit. And I think a part of that was because we weren't funded by the film board and other bodies, maybe, because there's a big biasness in this industry. There's a big clique, and it's a very elite industry, you know, which I still can't break into from a filmmaking point of view. So I have to make my own stuff. So it got kind of rejected and didn't do very well, and then we ended up going to Manchester Film Festival, and I said to the lads, we're going to win something there because of the gritty, realistic style of it. The Brits love that, the English love that style. So we went, and I remember then we screened the film. James Nesbitt stood up for 10 minutes talking about it's the best Irish film he's seen since the turn of the century, since the year 2000. We couldn't believe it. And then we went across the road, and we started, because it was 2-for-1 cocktails, me and the lads from all the Cardboard Gangsters, you know. And we were just drinking away, and we was like, fuck, the awards aren't, we're like, sure, listen, we probably won't win, you know, we probably won't. I thought we could win something, you know, but we didn't really care. But I remember our DOP, Michael Lavelle, saying, lads, come on, let's go, let's show respect, you know, they brought us over and blah, 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 and they paid for our flights. And I said, that's a good point, let's show a bit of respect. So we went in, and I'd say, we didn't get the receipts yet, and I won the first award, Best Actor. And I went, what? Oh shit. Okay. Went down, picked up the award. I didn't make it back to my seat when we won Best Film. Right? And I was like, oh shit. Then we sat down, and then we got like second place in 3 or 4 other categories. And we were like, this is mad. And then we got overall film, and all of us went up in the end, and I was like, this is mad, this is brilliant. And then we ended up going to Newport Beach Film Festival, which is a huge festival. And we were the lowest budget film in the whole festival. And we all left before the award ceremony because we knew there was no chance of getting an award. But we won Best Outstanding Achievement in Foreign Film. And we were like, what? We just couldn't believe it. So it ended up giving us a nice kind of launch for Ireland and the cinema then. Because then I started promoting the shit out of it, and I got on to Joe.E. And Joe.E. they released the trailer that got 1 million hits, and it went viral everywhere. So we knew we were going to do well in the cinema, but we didn't think we'd be the biggest film of the year. Not only the biggest film of the year, I think we beat the second biggest Irish film of the year by 2.5 times. And these are all films that were supported by the film board, and we weren't. And these are films bigger budgets than us, you know what I mean? So when I finally got up on the stage winning the IFTA, which again I didn't think they were going to give me, because again there's all this, you know, elitism and stuff, and I didn't think they were going to give it to me. But everybody said if Cardboard Gangsters wins anything, it'll be your performance. And so when I got it, I didn't have a speech prepared, but I remember walking up and I saw the film board there. So when I went up on stage, I kind of gave them a bit of stick. And
it was a great speech, though. Like, to be fair, the whole thing. It's probably been watched millions upon millions of times.
5 million hits, crazy, yeah. And I got, because Channel, I think it had about 2 million hits, and then Channel 4 got onto it, and they just released it, and like mad, because it went viral before with loads of different stuff that I've done, but like, you know, 100,000 or whatever, you know, that's 5 million, and people like, I had people like John Bishop and, you know, Tyson Fury and Conor McGregor, and, you know, like major stars in the UK, I can't even, that many I can't list, tweeting me and following me and DMing me and all this, and it was nice that the message spread that far, because I suppose that is a powerful message about mental health and creativity and what it can do for a person. So that's why it travelled. That's why the message travelled, you know.
Yeah, and like, one thing I always love about you, John, is you're so passionate whether it's from roots, our country, mental health. Where does that come from? Is there someone in the family that could have passed on that belief? Because it's beautiful the way you speak.
Yeah.
Like even the Late Late Show, you're not afraid to speak your mind.
No.
You'll say it straight.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. But where does it come from? Like, it's beautiful.
It's got me in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
Don't change. I know you won't. But
I know. I was flirting with the idea of changing, and then I realised I just can't, even if I wanted it. But yeah, basically, my grandmother, she'd be a big activist. She's only out there. Yeah. My grandfather was too, you know, and even my own father, and that was a very passionate man, you know. So it's just kind of in my DNA, you know. And I grew up around the campfire, listening to all these stories growing up. So when I came into the spotlight first with Love Hate, a camera gets pointed at me and people are asking to do interviews with me, and I'm going, okay, this is bizarre. But while they're asking all the other actors what's your dream role, what would you like to do, this, that and the other, they're asking me to account for travel or crime or this or that and the other. So I'm immediately on the defensive here. I have to get prepared. So then I just start speaking about that, and then, you know, people see all the other views, and not just about travel reviews, and they see, you know, I'm a proud Republican. I want to see United Ireland. That's probably my #1 political aspiration I want to see happening ever. Is that I want to see United Ireland more than anything. And then lots of other things, stuff with mental health and homelessness. So I'm passionate about a lot of stuff. And then there's other causes that got me in a lot of trouble. You know, people didn't agree. And I suppose we live in an era now in the world, because you have to remember we're very globalized as a country, as a world. There's a global community because of the online world. Yeah. So culture is affecting everybody, you know, and it seems to be kind of coming from America and the university kind of systems, and it's spreading out then into corporations, and they're bringing in rules and regulations about what you can say, can't say, and, you know, so we're kind of going into this era of the snowflake. Yeah. And this is pissing me off beyond belief, because people who I previously thought were liberals, they're not, showing me they're certainly not liberal, because they don't believe in freedom of speech. And this kind of stuff has got me in trouble a lot. And other stuff, like I did a tweet, and it was the time that the little was it Aldi, the roof came in, the lads with the JCB. And the funny thing is, I never got the chance. No one wanted to believe what actually happened there. I got a message from a friend of mine who blames himself to this day because the tweet went viral and I got some stick over it. But I got a message from a friend of mine saying a bunch of lads has robbed a load of bread out of Lidl, right? And it was plausible at the time, because you were seeing videos going around of people buying bread really quick because it was snowing. You know what I mean? You remember? So I was like, all right, they're all a bunch of kids. But this woman who was a local councillor, calls herself a socialist, is at the calling the guards on them, some socialist, right? That's what he said to me. I didn't see any video, right? And this was actually before the video came up. So I did a tweet about that. And I was going, you know, there are big corporations who wouldn't even work with the unions, which is true. And so yeah, I wouldn't be calling the guards. And that, I would stand by that. Like, I wouldn't, in that scenario, I wouldn't call the guards. And anyway, I come from a self-policing community, so it'd be very rare I'd call the guards over anything. And that's just the straight up truth about it. But of course, the video went viral then, and then we seen my tweet, and everybody thought that's what you know what I mean? Yeah. So I had no clue that was going to happen. So a lot of the time, you know, Twitter can be a bad place to discuss any idea or to throw something out flippantly, because there's so much trolls, and these snowflakes and cunt flakes, I call them, because I'm trying to find a more offensive term to offend them, you know, because and they're calling themselves liberal. Well, they're actually the opposite of liberal. In every single way, they're the opposite of a liberal, right? Even if you look at now the liberals who are saying, you know, kids need to be getting hormone replacement therapy at 3 years of age, right? Because they're playing with a toy from the opposite gender. So think about that for a second. Break that down. That's actually a very conservative view, because they don't believe that a boy could play with a girl's toy and a girl could play with a boy's toy. They have to play. That in itself is conservative, you know. So this new generation, I'm trying my best now not to get too dragged into some of this stuff, because I get into it too deep then, you know. Yeah. But they don't like different views, and their way out of it is you're Nazi. You are a Nazi. Yeah. When the abortion referendum happened, I was pro-choice, and every time I said I was pro-choice, I got a pain in the stomach. And I was wondering, why am I getting a pain in the stomach because I'm saying I'm pro-choice? And I realised because once I got really politically aware and got into it, I was looking at sort of liberal values, right, and going, well, some of them come into focus with where I come from, and equality being a big one in liberalism, you know. So I suppose I toed the line and just kind of jumped on a number of positions because that was the left wing position, and then I kind of start questioning that, just being an ideologue, you know, because then because human beings are very complex, and just because someone invents, here's the left wing and all the left wing positions, and here's the right wing and here's all the right wing positions, and you identify with one or the other, it's very unlikely you're going to actually agree with every position that's left, every position that's right, you know. In actuality, I've now come to terms with the fact that I think being pro-life is actually quite liberal, and this is why I think this is because if you look at liberals, it's always about bettering the life of people or saving lives from wars, getting medical cards, bettering whatever it may be. Don't close down the school, but then the one question of life, it changes. So that got me in a lot of trouble, and I really got the brunt of this new sort of liberalism that's not liberalism. This sort of snowflake leftism, where people with human rights activists in their bio on Facebook and Twitter were calling me pikey and knacker, sending me death threats, and calling me a Nazi, an alt-right figure, a misogynist, a woman hater, all this stuff because they disagreed with my view, which I just found crazy. And a woman hater, that's the most bizarre thing ever. Like one of my biggest maybe political inspiration is my grandmother, who was a great activist. All the main travel activists were women, 90% of them, since the 50s, since the activism started within our community. I was raised by a single mother. You're calling me a woman hater. I suppose where the problem came with the whole abortion thing was you had pro-life here and you had pro-choice here. Maybe it should be the other way around. And most pro-life, or maybe some pro-life people would think that they're just baby murderers, right? They're just baby murderers, and that would be their thought process behind being pro-life. And then pro-choice would, some of them, and again, not all, but some of them would just go, they're women haters. Yeah. They're women haters. So the pro-life couldn't see the complexity of their situation and the sort of society that we've grown up in, where it is sort of not normal, but it is an attainable thing for an abortion. It is an option in the society we live in, and it's not straightforward as just red cold, you know, murder. There's complexity to that, and I fed into some of the more simplistic versions of that myself anyway, because I was being attacked. And then the other side, they can't see that, so it becomes this ideological battle, which I found myself in the middle of. And a lot of that sort of adulation and praise I got from the video of the If This speech and all that, and all these left people on the left praising me and parading me and mental health guy and all that, they all came after me one by one, and people who were my friends came after me. I got more racist abuse from the position I held on abortion than any other event or a thing that has happened to me online since I've come into the public eye, which is saying something. It's mad. That's the times we live in.
I tell you, I love you as a speaker, and I'd see you be some politician. I tell you, you'd sort this country out.
I tell you, I don't think I'd ever get. I'd never get it. I think if I had a shut me mouth about the abortion thing, I would have probably done well as a local councillor. But once that's going to be always on me back now. That's the thing that's going to follow me. But anyway, I have no interest in politics. Because I tell you why, you become a part of a party, first of all, where you have to abide by the party whip. We've seen this in Sinn Féin, a party who I've always voted for, who I don't think I'll be voting for anymore, or we'll see what happens, but I don't know. But they used the party whip against Peadar Tóibín because he was pro-life, and they used it twice and suspended him the second time for 6 months. So he left the party, starting his own party. And we have the party whip system in Ireland, which some other countries don't have, which I just think is disgraceful and very undemocratic. And this was how undemocratic I thought Sinn Féin were to use it, because Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael actually gave people a vote of conscience. So Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are allowing people to vote individually, and then Sinn Féin. So this is kind of it's a bad era, you know. And with not being a part of a party, I'm able to say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
I'm able to say fuck, because you couldn't say that in Dáil Éireann. You know what I mean? And I'm able to talk like a normal human being. Because I'm always going to have my views. I'm always going to be anti-establishment, because the establishment is doing nothing for my people, or working class people in general in Ireland, or homelessness, or mental health advocacy, or republicanism. That's always going to be my thing. And I'm always going to be able to speak on that freely, you know?
John, you're an absolute hero. Thank you for the time today.
No bother at all, brother.
We'll see you in Cork soon.
Absolutely, I'll be there for the play in March, so we'll have to crack down there. Bring me around, we get a pint or something.
We will, definitely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys. You're a champ, mate.